Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is Saturday morning, so you know it's time for another live edition of the Extra Point. As you can see, we got the hit squad in the house. The gang is all here and fire it up to talk some sports. I can't wait to get to it. We got a ton to get to today. But before we do any of that, we have a couple of words from our sponsors.
We are sponsored by May Jane's Coffee. That's MAEJANES coffee.com. You can get your Colombian and your brand new whiskey blend coffee, freshly ground by my lovely daughter, Denise, at May Jane's Coffee. That's MAEJANES coffee.com. You can follow May Jane's on Instagram. It's May Jane's Coffee. You can also follow it on Facebook and follow my daughter, who is Denise, on Facebook, and Sasha Fierce on Twitter. But please, guys, continue to support. We appreciate all the support that you have been giving us. This was a big thing for her to undertone. We all know owning a business is not easy. She's surviving, but we still need as much as we can. So please continue to purchase your May Jane's Coffee.
Excellent job by you. And we are also brought to you by
Wolverine Comics. We buy, sell, and trade comics. Right now is probably the buying season. So if you know anyone that is looking to sell their collection, definitely hit me up on Instagram or Whatnot Stream. That's Wolverine_Comics TX. Hit me up.
Yes, sir. I actually physically with my own 2 eyes saw a couple of nice shipments come in. So he's got some great stuff. Make sure you follow him on Instagram. He does a lot of things on there as well. Make sure you follow May Jane's Coffee as well. We are out here trying to get it, y'all. Thank you to our sponsors. Now, Michigan Mike.
No, his new name is Don Ho.
Wait a minute. His new name is what now?
Don Ho. Tiny bubbles in the wine.
Hey, hit that vibrato.
That sounded nice, yeah.
Now, usually we would save this for the end of the show in our shout out sections, but we can't wait because it's a very special day today. It's Michigan Mike's birthday. Give it up for Michigan Mike, ladies and gentlemen.
It's your birthday.
Hey,
contest, you in first place.
Hey,
all I know my birthday is
Hey, get them heels up in the air, y'all. Get your heels up. One time for Michigan Mike. Look, seriously speaking, in the world that we've lived in the last few years, another trip around the sun is a blessing, and we happy to have you back on board, fresh from Hawaii, as the birthday shout-outs pour in. Continue to send those birthday shout-outs in throughout the show. Show Mr. Michigan Mike some love. It ain't easy doing 365 days on this oik. As I digress on that. Now, ladies and gentlemen, who knew that this picture right here would be so telling and so prophetic when this matchup originally occurred? Yes, Mr. One Baker Mayfield, Mr. Progressive himself, has a new home in Carolina. Now, you know we don't give long for honeymoons, so let's just get right to it. Michigan Mike, it's your birthday. You up first. Was this a good move for Baker Mayfield?
I think it was his only move, kind of like going back to a relation. Like do you want to go back to a relationship that was like, oh, we're done with you? No, like you can't stay. Like you have to go somewhere. I think Carolina is a good fit because he will be the opposite of Sam Darnold or whatever.
Yeah, Sam Darnold.
And at least Baker has a dual threat, which I think they're going to try again from the Cam Newton thing, that whole thing that they just blew up. So I think I think that's a good fit for him.
You think it's a good fit? Now, yeah. Sizzle, here's some of the details of the deal. Now, basically, Cleveland chipped in about $10 million. Carolina chipped in some money, but Baker, he basically gave back $3 million of his own guaranteed money in the contract back in incentives to facilitate this trade. He can earn that $3 million back if he plays at least 70% of the snaps. Is that money gone? Do you think he'll get to 70% this year?
Well, obviously he's passed the physical because he was supposed to do that Thursday. Because if he didn't, we would have heard about that. It all depends on his health, but he'll go out there with his arm hanging on literally by a tendon because he has done it before. Right. So I think that he will recoup that money. And also with Baker, remember we went down the list of quarterbacks who Baker was better than. It's not about his ability on the field, which I do think is decent talent. Something else is going on that we just won't know as to why it took this long for him to, find a team. And then, man, you got a former Heisman Trophy winner who is better than at least 20 quarterbacks, and y'all got a fifth round.
A fifth round pick that can turn into a fourth round if tied to team success. Mike, why is that? Why do you think that's the case? Like nobody wanted him. Why would you think? Was it the injury, like Tasha said?
Yeah, it could be that. It could be the attitude. It could be a whole bunch of different things. I mean, once you've been in the NFL long enough as the quarterback and you're not really winning, and then trying to blame it on other people and other, like, that's not what a quarterback's supposed to do. Mm-hmm. So I mean, I wouldn't want him as my quarterback.
Damn.
What Mike said is the attitude, and also that going back to old Tug and Tug, that makes me wonder: does Cleveland know something we don't know? Because you think Jadeveon Clowney re-signed, and the fact that they got rid of Baker, knowing that they only back hope was Jacoby Brissett, and who else they got in there?
Sammy Davis the third, basically.
You banking on going in there with Jacoby Brissett, which I don't think is a bad quarterback.
But he's not a good quarterback either.
And he's not. And I mean, I'm just wondering what's going on in that Cleveland organization. They know something that we obviously do not know.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, they really don't have any privy. They know what we're going to talk about, but they have no privy to the exact questions I'm going to ask on a weekly basis. They don't get to see the coveted notes. On my notes, you're right there. You're right there with Mike. Now, we already know that you can see Google through your lenses, Mike. They got that 2 weeks ago. But you're onto something, Tasha. And Mike, let me throw this to you since Tasha is on a fire blaze. Let me just say this: where there's smoke, there's fire. I originally thought, what is going on with Cleveland that they're willing to move him now? Do you think they've gotten tipped off from the NFL about Watson's suspension, where they feel like now is a safe time to move Baker? Maybe that Watson won't be gone for a year now?
I mean, NFL is pretty shady, so it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me if it were the case. I honestly think that a lot of these heavy hitters that are still playing with the Browns are like, hey, either he go or I go. And I think that's what it's coming down to is like, I don't want to play for y'all again if this is my quarterback. I'd rather us play with a new quarterback that is just quiet and does his job and is a team player than this guy. So I think that's what happened.
So Tasha, let's piggyback off what Mike just said. But on Carolina's side, if you're Robbie Anderson, who recently said no on an Instagram post when it was rumored that Baker would come there, what do you do now? You've worked with Sam Darnold all season. You worked with him last year, but now you have another quarterback coming in that you have to build some rapport with because he's going to get reps. You don't just bring him over this late in the game and not give him reps in training camp. How do you balance that relationship? Do you stand firm with the quarterback that's already there, or do you give Baker a chance?
We all know wide receivers are the divas. So if Baker's going to throw him that rock, he's going to catch it. But Baker is that petty. Look what he did to OBJ. He is that petty to probably say, I'm not going to throw it to him. I'm not going to give it to him. Because remember, no, you didn't want me here. Which, I mean, again, but who even knows that Baker's going to beat out Sam Darnold? We don't even know that. We know Baker's the better quarterback. But what he has to go in, he has to learn a whole new playbook, a whole new system that Sam Darnold has had years to take in.
Right, and he's coming off an injury as well. Like he just had surgery the day after the season ended. And shouts out to Marcus Stone, who Marcus is saying, tell the people to place them bets on Carolina record with acquiring Baker. Do you agree?
It depends on what the over/under is on the wins. I mean, I'm
gonna personally set it at 6 games.
I'm with wait a minute, stop. What Marcus said, my Aryan brother shouts out, you supposed to be live at them slots.
He almost did go live last night.
I almost did go live at the slots. We're going to get to the slots later on in the show, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you stick around for that. Durant, Oklahoma was good to us last night. Shouts out to Marcus Stone checking in. Well, let's set the over-under at 6 games. You taking the over, Mike?
I think 6 is pretty good. I would say 6 or 7. So man, that's pretty hard. I'll go over with 7 wins.
7 wins. Tasha, do you think the Browns were done with Baker no matter what the suspension was for Watson?
I mean, yeah. I mean, but again,
damn, Baker, he wasn't that bad in Cleveland.
I mean, he wasn't that bad, but he's what do they say? A locker room killer, a coach killer.
Yeah.
I think he brought the morale down in a locker room. You cannot have your leader being the biggest bitch on your team, the biggest crybaby, the biggest complainer.
Mike smirked at that because Mike hates a BAN. Let's keep going. Y'all gonna have to just find out what that is. Mike ain't with that poo-poo stuff.
He reminds me of a less talented Rivers, to where Rivers was pretty much like that, but he got away with it because Rivers could throw.
And if you can throw and win me games, you going out there regardless if your teammates like you or not.
But you see, like Rivers still didn't win anything when it came down to it. So people just didn't like him. Like when it comes down, you got to be respected in that locker room, and as a quarterback especially. And that's just not happening for him.
Scale of 1 to 10, T Sizzle. Baker Mayfield will be playing elsewhere in 2023. I'm sorry.
No, I think. I think Carolina's going to stick with him, but again, it all depends on if Sam Darnold beats him out. But then I still think they would have him as a backup, and he can bitch and moan and complain about that. Who else gonna get you? Look how long it took you to find another team.
And look at Seattle's quarterback room, and they didn't want him.
They
didn't want him. I'm sure he would have given up money to go to Seattle as well. To try to make it incentive laden. It's going to be interesting. Mike, scale of 1 to 10. Baker plays elsewhere next season.
I would say 2. I think he's going to stay there. I think he's actually not going to play most of the season, but he will play a couple games, and he'll have a little bit of success with that, just with a dual threat, and then they'll end up letting him play in the next year after that.
I was wanting to say that he benefits by not being in a tough division like the AFC North, but now that I think about it, I mean, hell, you still got New Orleans and Tampa Bay looking to bash your head in because they got bigger goals in mind. So they're circling y'all on the calendar as a win on their way to the playoffs and possibly more. It's going to be interesting to see. Do you think Progressive keeps them this year? Anybody jump in? Are they going to do live games from Carolina where he's handing out?
I mean, if Nike ended their contract with the earth is flat, anything can happen.
I think Baker keeps that contract. I mean, that's what he's good at, is making those commercials. So
Wayne, I digress. I disagree. I mean, not digress. I disagree with you on that, Wayne. They had a good division last year.
Mike, you agree? They look. You can't take away that when all cylinders are clicking and he's healthy. He did show that he could be effective. They came into Nashville and put the lumps on Tennessee's head en route to almost going to the Super Bowl, I believe. They couldn't stop Chad Henne on a 4th and 1. Chad Henne, go blue, as they're decked out of Michigan gear without letting me know the memo today. So my apologies for that. Go Blue Faithful on Twitter when you see me out of order. My bad on that. They didn't communicate well with me on that. Now, speaking of Carolina, did you all know as we transition into our countdown to kickoff, did you know that Carolina is one of 11 teams that has not won a playoff game in 5 years? Now, for the people that's listening on the podcast, on Spotify, Apple Tunes, all that good stuff, we're going to give you the names. But for those watching, you see the list up here. Tasha, Mike, you see the list. With Carolina, we have Arizona, Detroit, Denver, the New York Jets and the New York Giants, Chicago, the Raiders, Washington, Miami, and Pittsburgh. There's some surprising names on there as far as hadn't won a playoff game in 5 years. Mike, we're coming to you first.
Yep.
Give me one team on this list that won't be on this list next season.
Next season, I'm going to go with Pittsburgh.
You betting on black? Tasha would be proud of you.
Like you didn't do for me at the casino last night. You didn't put 25 on black for me.
You don't know that. You don't know that.
I agree with Marcus on the supporting cast, by the way, as I digress. I agree with Marcus 100% on that. So you're saying Pittsburgh gets off the snot and wins a playoff game? That's bad news for my Titans. Damn it, I was hoping you'd pick an NFC team. So, Tasha, who do you think of this list, who doesn't make this list next season?
You know, I always bet on black, but
there's some bad teams on there.
Yeah, I mean, you got Mitch Trubisky, who everyone is saying is the front runner to be the starter. It depends on his play because it's going to be hard coming in replacing a Ben Roethlisberger, who towards the end of his career was, just basically out there throwing with a wet noodle. But the way the offense is set up in Pittsburgh is more catered to Mitch Trubisky's game. But so since Mike said Steelers, of course, that would have been my pick. I'm going to go with the Raiders. I think the Raiders are going to come in with some fire this season, and I think they're going to do something.
That was one of my teams as well, was the Raiders, just because they were basically an errant throw late in the fourth quarter away from beating Cincinnati in the wild card round. And you added Devontae Adams to that. Now, the division has gotten a lot tougher. We shall see what Kansas City looks like without the Cheetah. But Arizona, I'm going to go with Marcus Stone on him, my Bayou buddy. Arizona's a team that I think that if they can just survive the first 6 weeks without your boy with the suspension for taking the HGH and the goat's blood and all of that kind of stuff, I think that Arizona might squeak in and be on the upset meter. Now, Wayne says...
Speaking of suspensions really fast, do y'all notice they gave Calvin Ridley a whole year for gambling, and then they can't decide what they want to do with old Tug and Snug, and then they gave D-Hop 6 games for, like you said, the deer meat blood and everything else?
Well, wait a minute. But think about the Tug and Snug, as you said. Crafty, with the Crafty Tug, he's going in the Hall of Fame now. He got busted in a prostitution ring.
But you know the difference with that. He's an owner. He's a billionaire. It's different.
It is different, and that'd be interesting to see. Mike, let me ask you this: as the birthday wishes continue to pour in, thank y'all. Keep them coming. If we had to do this 5 years from now, what team will still be on this list?
Well, most of them, Detroit Lions, New York Jets. I think at that time Chicago will start to win. The New York Giants will still be on there. I think the Commanders definitely have a shot to rebuild.
I like what the Commanders
Miami Dolphins. I don't like Tua, so that.
We're going to get to that in just a minute. Now, I hate to beat you up on your birthday, but now you're asking me to bring out the boxing gloves, as boxing will be a theme later on in the show. Mike, you hold that thought. We're coming right to you on that. Tasha, who's on here 5 years from now?
What Mike just said. I can see Denver, but I mean, like I said, the ones you were saying who were going to come out of it, it was a long list because I can see Denver making the playoffs. I can see Miami making the playoffs. The Raiders.
Well, damn, you're not
but it's playoff wins, so we got to think about that.
Right.
Too.
I mean,
that's a good point, Mike. Playoff wins.
No, but I can see all of them winning a game. But like I said, the Lions, the MESS Mets, the Jets. It depends on what they want to do with Justin Fields in Chicago. The Giants are just the Commandos are just the same teams pretty much Mike listed.
That is and for you Lions fans and you Jets fans, I'm sorry. Like I didn't know what they was gonna say, but they said it with their chest. They said it with conviction. So good luck with your basketball team over the next half a decade as we transition. Hey, look, all I can do is put it out there. They said your team is going to suck for another 5 years. Go to a fantasy football league and try to get your dubs in that way. Hell, that worked for me as a Titans fan. As we digress, moving on to the first installment of our previews. Y'all, we are finally into the preview part of the summer. That means football is right around the corner. Look at the big Cheshire grin on Mike's face. Bring on the pigskin, damn it. Damn Kevin Durant and them ashy knees.
For real.
I didn't say nothing about his hair. I said his ashy knees and them red bottom shoes. Mike, we got to pull that picture out the vault one day whenever he gets re-signed, as I digress. So we're going to start in the AFC East. Lots of intrigue here. To give you a quick recap of 2021, Buffalo won the division. And if you watched a couple of weeks ago when we did Run Out of Gas or Run It Back, the whole panel agreed unanimously that Buffalo would run it back as division champs. So no need to revisit that for you faithful listeners out there. We won't revisit that. But what I will ask you, Mike, is Buffalo in the place now? Are they the type of echelon team that is championship or bust this year?
I think so, yeah. Like they have that's their prime of the organization right now. They were pretty close last season, got a little bit more experience, but yeah, now it's time to play. Let's go.
Now, man, with flowing locks said this, Tasha, it wasn't me. You see the flowing locks in the picture. He said the hair speaks for itself. It's saying, help! Help me, Lord. Jesus be a comb.
Somebody please help me.
Tasha, make a break for Buffalo. Have they reached that tier of NFL team in your opinion?
Oh, yeah. I think so. And especially even though people want to count Von Miller out, Von Miller is still Von Miller. And the Cowboys had an opportunity. Did y'all hear that?
No, don't bring that up. Oh, my God, Tasha.
Okay.
Yeah, look, what Tasha's alluding to is that the man just said he would have took less money to play in Dallas.
But not that.
Because he's a Texas boy.
Right, and you lost Randy
now
Gregory.
What y'all know about them Texas boys coming down and Candid smoking, talking.
Okay, all right. So she did it for the podcast and the YouTube.
Mike ain't got no money because he got to keep playing that hush money to that outside kid of his. That's why he ain't had no money to pay Vaughn.
You know what? We're not going to do this. Vince McMahon, damn it. That's all I got to say. Now,
Elon Musk.
We're going to slip in one KD snipe. He wants to go everywhere, but not the barber. That's what they need to trade him to Ice Cube's barbershop.
Keep the shots coming.
That's like a birthday shout out. Tasha,
don't make me find that picture because I will.
Again, I rock 4C. I've had 4C my entire life. No 4C slander would be tolerated.
But you don't have AT&T. You don't have the rooftop coming peeling back and the grass growing.
All he needs is a little crew cone, and then he'll be all right.
No, he needs that. He needs the zero.
What it do, Bob?
And just from temple to the neck. Let's just run it. See what shaped head you really got, KD. As we digress.
Hold up, Marcus.
Excuse me. Okay, back to Buffalo. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you know we got to tell the truth when we in the booth. And there's an alarming stat out here for Buffalo that makes me think that this might not be a championship year for them. Y'all tell me if this is something that you'll be concerned with. Now, Buffalo did win the division. However, they were only 2 games above third place Miami, who was 9-8. They were 1 game above New England, who both beat them last year. They had a 4-5 record last year against teams with a winning record. Can I interest you in their first 8 games this year? And this is in chronological order. They open against the Rams, then the Titans, then the Dolphins, then the Ravens, the Steelers, the Chiefs, a bye week, and Green Bay. What is their record with those teams after 8 games, Mike? That is a gauntlet.
Yeah, that's pretty tough. I still think they get through it, though. I think they go 5-3, 6-2.
I'm sorry. It said screaming for some water. All right. So you're saying 6-2 with that? Are the Titans one of the 2?
Yeah.
We already talked about We already talked about that and how the Titans are going to be struggling for a while just because of the decisions they made.
I'm sick of y'all. Now somebody, wait a minute. Facebook is showing up with 7-1. Okay. Well, the Titans gonna knock them off in week 2. They haven't beat the Titans since.
No, come on, quit playing. You know that one is the Titans, but I even have them beating Kansas City.
Really, Kansas City. Now, they said we need to see what Buffalo's OC looks like. That's important, but they do bring back one of the league's best defenses. And like Tasha said, you add Von Miller, who I call the championship genie. He showed up in Denver, they won a chip. He showed up in Los Angeles, they won a chip. He showed up in Buffalo on a talented team, just as talented as the 2 predecessors. I'm just saying.
Like I said, to Wayne's point, everybody counts Von Miller out, but that man is a beast.
Wayne says hogwash. He says he ain't got much left in the tank, and the tank is on E.
No, that boy hungry. He got a whole bunch of off the field issues. That man trying to get away from some things. That man gonna go out there and ball like he always has.
Mike, break the tie. Von Miller, is he still a difference maker? Let's put it that way. Can he still put you over the championship hump if you're right there on the precipice?
A difference maker, yes. He's not elite, no, but like you still, like to Tasha's point, you still have to account for him, and if you don't, you're gonna get in trouble. So that's why I think he is still a difference maker.
All I know is in that Super Bowl, the main reason the Rams won because you got to look out for Aaron Donald and Von Miller.
Von turned it up in the playoffs. He wasn't doing much in the regular season. But
he's always hungry. He stays hungry.
If you put 2 on Donald, put two on Miller, then you got to deal with the rest of the defense too. Von Miller is still a force to be reckoned with.
Right, and you have a Jalen Ramsey that can dictate the back end coverage and take his man one-on-one.
Right.
He was in a perfect situation. But like Damien says, we'll see what the offensive coordinator looks like. You would think that Josh Allen would continue to progress. He should be at the point now where his talent should supersede who's calling the plays for him.
Which is what I'm hoping, because when Josh Allen first came out, I was like,
I was too.
But then you see, as the years are progressing, he's starting to become that elite style quarterback that none of us really, to be honest, thought he would be.
Now, the Bills fans getting show some love. He must have just watched 4 Falls of Buffalo on ESPN, saying that he would love to see that fan base win a chip. When I'm sitting here in the Titans hat, we ain't won jack squat in 30 years.
All I know is the last time I was working at the Titans and they played the Bills, that Bills Mafia is not to be played with.
They are not to be trifled with. They will show up to your city.
They were in the club level. When I'm walking people up to the club level, and I'm like, oh, okay. They had their flags. It looked like they was tailgating the club level.
Wayne Donaldson with the walk-off home run. The Bills are the Bills. We ain't scared of them. Where Kevin Dyson and Frank Wycheck at? Where the lateral at?
Them days are long gone. When they lost the out, that's when them days left.
Them days is long gone. You are right. So let's keep with the AFC East. Mike, who's the biggest threat to dethrone Buffalo this year? New England or Miami?
Yeah, you're gonna be surprised by this one. I think Miami has what it takes. I don't think. I think because of Tua that they won't succeed. But honestly, he has to be able to step it up. You look at the times that he played last season, and it's not that impressive. Like, at what point do we say, like, okay, this not the guy?
We're gonna get to that question, Mike. Mike, you're walking me to the diving board. All I gotta do is just splash in. Tasha, Miami or New England, who has the better chance of dethroning the Bills this year? They both finished within a couple of games of them last year.
I'm going to say Miami, and I'm not going to say they're going to lose in spite of Tua. I think they're going to win because of Tua, because you got Tyreek Hill, you got the cheetah there now, you got Jalen
Waddle was a monster last year. You got some speed on the outside.
Now, I don't know. I had to go in and look what they have on offense as far as the line goes. But, I think Miami can ruffle some feathers this year.
Right, and I love 2 subtle moves they made at running back with Chase Edmonds and Sony Michel. Those are complete upgrades over, what was his name, Gaskins? Mm-hmm. They were just throwing people out there running back last year. You give this man a run game. You give him some people you can throw a bubble screen to and let them run 80 yards. He doesn't have to be elite. I really like Miami this year, and I'm really worried about them.
I agree. I think if you manage Tua correctly and not expect too much, then I think that's the way that you get it done.
Yes,
to your point. Like, right, you look at the teams that were playoff caliber teams that he played against, he threw an interception to, and his completions rate aren't that great.
Against the Titans. He was absolutely deplorable against the Titans.
Even the Saints, like he threw another interception against the Saints with low completions. Like those are playoff caliber teams, not even the best teams, but like imagine them getting into the playoffs. Like you got to be able to be one of the best teams. The Dolphins defense has it against the Bills. It's been proven. Now you just got to be able to keep up and manage time.
You do. Right. I totally agree. You don't turn the ball over. Give the ball to Michelle and Edmonds. You got elite speed on the outside. They should be able to break you a couple of game breakers a game, one or the other. So you have all the components ready. Just be clean on special teams. You should be okay. But New England seems to be overlooked. They were 11-6 last year. Is Bill Belichick still the best coach in the NFL, Tasha?
I can't say he's the best.
Like he may not have the best team, but is he still the best coach?
And I hate Bill Belichick. But the hoodie, you can't always say, okay, well, but I do say it was Tom more of Bill, but look at what he did with what he had.
Yes. And Wayne said they had basically a lack of talent, especially at the skill position last year.
Right. And you still came out with that record. I just think it's going to be a plateau this year. I don't think that they're going to go above, and I don't necessarily think they're going to sink really low. I just don't see any progression this season.
That's a bad place to be in as a franchise that's used to winning championships, that you're just good enough to get let down in the wild card round. Mike, does Belichick still come in at number one on your coaches list?
I think so, just because of how he schemes with not as much talent. Like it's impressive, to be honest, like to be still relevant and still have that fear factor of the Patriots, or / Belichick. I think Belichick with the hoodie is kind of like Darth Vader. Like Darth Vader was like 80 years old and people are still afraid of him. Yeah, so he's just walking up there like, all right, so time to do my job. But you never know what he's thinking, and that's the whole thing. I do agree that he's going to start to taper off, and I wouldn't be surprised if something came up or something happened that he had to walk away from the Patriots mid-season. So be on the lookout for that.
Wait a minute, Mike. Are you dropping the gym on us? What your sources up there in the Tea Party area?
My sources tell me.
No sources. That's just a business move that I would do.
Oh, okay. Well, somebody don't like Belichick. Said his cheating ass only winning but 6 games this year. They're not playing the Titans in the regular season, so I'm kind of like, he coaching the real life replacements. He is. That's why I was so impressed by what he did. That was almost as impressive as Tom Brady going to a stacked Tampa Bay and winning the championship, as he should have. 11-6 is nothing to sneeze at in a tough AFC.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now, to the Jets, and Tasha, I know that you're very passionate about this particular subject, so I want to come to you first on this. With Robert Saleh as the coach entering year 2, the Jets were praised for their offseason acquisitions. They were given A+ across the board for their draft, getting Sauce Gardner and getting some wide receiver help. From Ohio State, Garrett Wilson. Mm-hmm. With the moves that they made, does this buy Saleh time, or does this heat up his hot seat? Do you think they can go 4-13 again this year and he still keep his job?
No, I think it adds more coals to his fire because these owners and these teams, these franchises now, they want to win now. They don't care
right now
because they feel like we drafted this talent, because we felt like this talent could get us where we need to be, and you need to coach this talent.
Mike, is that fair?
Yeah, for sure. I think it is fair, especially in the NFL. You have these players are ready to play. It's different for college. I think in college, I would agree with the 4 to 6 years for a new coach to be there, because you have to You have to go and find all your talent and then do your scheme. And then these are young players. These are kids. So I think it's different for NFL because these people are like ready. They're like businessmen now. It's like, okay, well, here's the book. You need to memorize it by tomorrow and come to work, essentially. And so they're ready to go. And you put all your pieces that you wanted. So now you have 1-2 years left. And so I agree. Yeah, it's definitely coals under the fire.
Right. And the thing is that we saw the exact same thing happen in Nashville. Tennessee was 9-7 a couple of years in a row under Mike Munchak, kind of just teetering around mediocre. As the talent got better, his seat got hot, and they got his ass up out of there and brought a new coach in to get them over the hump, and it worked.
And it's the same with players too. I mean, look at Mariota. He was like, "Nah, I need a deep threat." Okay, here's your deep threat. Oh, okay, you can't throw. Got it. All right, out.
That's what I worry about with Tua. That's my only concern with Tua. Like Tua, don't mess this up. It's almost like when you get too excited and mess up the stroke.
This is season.
You know what? Stop. Because see, if I was to say that, if I was to allude to anything of that nature, you're gonna be ready to cancel the show.
No, that was gonna go over people's heads, Tasha, till you paused it.
You know I picks up on anything nasty.
But like you said, sometimes you like, oh, I got all these new toys. I got Cheetah. I got Waddle. I got a noodle arm. Like, just take a deep breath to it. That's what happened to Mariota. When A.J. Brown showed up and Derrick Henry started rushing for 2,000 yards, Mariota couldn't handle that. Like, he just went backwards.
I mean, the only reason that I root for Tua, and I mean, I know things happen, is because old Clanger really derailed him. When they on that hit,
yeah, they tore him up
in Davis Wade Stadium. He got almost a Bo Jackson type injury to his hip.
And he did recover. But the thing is, the more Mike puts that poison in my ear, the more critical my eye is of him. So I'm going to tune Mike out this year and give this guy a clean slate. But I do think Robert Saleh, to get back to the Jets, I do think that it's fair that expectations be raised. If you're a coach, you want higher expectations. You should be expected to do better than 4-13 with the talent that you've acquired. You don't agree, Tasha?
But this is the thing, too, about a lot of these lower tier, bottom feeder, basement teams. And I'm going to take this, you know how I am. I'm going to always stoke the fire. They give us jobs knowing that it's no way in hell we're going to succeed just to say they gave us a job. Shouts out to that BS Rooney Rule.
That's not fair to either side.
Right. And I'm not necessarily just going to blame, the hiring process on that. The Jets is a terrible job, period. Because they are a terrible organization. So anybody that you put in there, even with the talent, I don't know what it is. Are they cursed because they're playing in the same stadium as the Giants? Are they because Joe Namath wore them pantyhose? Is it a curse? What is it about the Jets that
the guarantee?
Right.
I don't know what it is about the Jets, but if you go back to the Rich Cotites and hell, I think the last success they had was with the Tuna there, right? When they were going to AFC Championship games with Mark Sanchez. Hell, they was winning with Mark Sanchez. They had a great defense. We shall see. Okay, so how many playoff teams do you think come out of this division?
I say, who else is in the division? You got
New England, Miami.
New England, Miami.
This morning, Mike.
Got what?
I see she's been smoking this morning. We've been talking about these
the Jets, the Patriots, Dolphins, and the Bills.
There you go.
But I smoked early, so I'm kind of coming down. I ain't just all loopy. I say, I'm gonna give you a strong 2 and a push. The 2 being the Bills and the Dolphins.
Wow, you got them leapfrogging Big Bill. I love this. All right.
But I got the Patriots as my strong possible.
Mike, how many playoff teams does this division have?
I'm gonna say 1. I got the Bills, and that's it. I don't.
Bodes well for the Titans.
I think the Patriots go down this year as far as being more mediocre. I think the Dolphins. I think Tua is gonna just throw it away. And I don't see 2 or 3. That's wild. No, right? Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Definitely the Bills.
Yeah, if you look at the AFC West, you would think at least 3 of them are coming out of there, and the 4th one might be a playoff killer where they take you down with them and keep you at 9-8 or 8-9 or something of that nature. That's going to be interesting. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that's how you preview a division. Shouts out to the Hit Squad. So glad to have them back together. That's how you preview a division. That's right. Come on. Now, Mike, last week when you was over there in Hawaii,
Don Ho,
Mohalo,
your sail on. Remember the Jeffersons episode when they capsized when they was in Hawaii, the 2-part episode? We thought George and Weezy was dead. I'll digress. Mike, you missed a conversation that we had that we have to bring back this week because you are Michigan, Mike, and we're talking about the Big Ten. So for those that have just got out today on warrants, congratulations, welcome back. The USC Trojans and the UCLA Bruins have officially basically joined the Big Ten. Their applications were accepted. They will start playing 2024. Mike,
what?
2024. Yeah, they'll
be talking about Mike sitting up here with the round of applause. Let me make that ass clap.
Now that's a perfect segue for me to just back out of this conversation and let you two have it. Mike, the floor is yours. Tasha, you rebut.
Yeah, I mean, I really like this move. I think it's the only move that we could make in response to SEC coming up with the Texas OU. We're establishing that we are the Power 2 conferences right now. And to do so, we have to start picking from the best of the other ones. And it's not just who's strong right now, it's who's going to be strong long term. And UCLA and USC have the money, and they have the money to join the Big Ten. So that's what it's about.
The Big Ten goes into the LA market. Tasha, to that you say what?
I do agree with Mike, but let me elude on some things. And Paul, you said this last week, and I was like, nah. But you're not
going to... Let's say every week.
Okay, let's just say you have a UCLA and a Purdue. Them people from UCLA are not going to be as apt to want to go to West Lafayette.
Right.
Let's just put it there.
Right.
But those people from Purdue, they going to want to go to LA because you think only time we had an opportunity as the Big Ten to go to LA was for the Rose Bowl.
Mike, we just talked about this last night. Continue. I'll elaborate after you're done.
That's their only opportunity. Now, Mike, you said, adding the teams to be the best because I think basically what they're making now, the way these conferences realignments are going, you have an AFC and an NFC. That's basically what you're doing now. So, Mike, of the 10, I wrote these down because again, I read. Y'all think I don't read because I hate to read. But what you have left are Oregon, Washington, Stanford, and Cal. That's what you have. So, Mike, would you rather have an Oregon and a Washington?
He's ready to respond to.
I'm gonna stop you right there. I'm gonna stop you right there.
But after he gives his answer, I'm gonna throw a twist in there. After he gives his
answer,
y'all
have at it. I got my popcorn ready. I'm about to drink my May James.
Would you want an Oregon and a Washington or Stanford and a Cal to be added?
Go ahead. Just press the present button, please, sir.
All right, here we go.
Go ahead.
Bam. All right. So what you see here?
Yes, I was working behind the scenes.
No.
Let me explain this.
Yeah. Let me explain this. I actually made this last year when there was talks that SEC was going to start picking from different places, and I told Paul, I was like, "Hey, Big Ten got to be on this and be ready because there's going to be 2 power conferences, and the winners face each other at the end. SEC, Big Ten. So ideal." This was how it would look like. You got your divisions because I know you're like, hey, this region stuff don't make sense. I got you, Tasha. It's okay. We got a West over here. We got USC, UCLA, Kansas, Nebraska, Oklahoma State, and TCU. So obviously Pac-12 and Big 12 are going bye-bye. We got the Great Lakes. It's pretty much the old school Big 10, still staying with it. Midwest, still the same, in addition to Notre Dame, which we talked about how we're going to acquire them.
And we're going to get into them in just a second.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. And then we have the East, bringing in Florida State and Clemson, North Carolina. I don't want those other ones that you talked about. They can go over there to SEC. I want to focus on the bigger scheme of these schools right here.
Okay.
And this was done a year ago. So if this turns out to be right, we going back to the casino.
And shouts out to your Microsoft Excel skills.
Right. Wasn't that woefully great?
I mean, the reason why I asked is because y'all remember when it was the Big 8 and they were adding teams to go to
the Big 8 was a monster.
Yes. Yeah. And you think Nebraska was supposed to be Nebraska, Texas, and OU going to make this, the big thing. And now you have Texas and OU leaving. Nebraska is gone. So what I was saying was when I gave you 4 options and you gave me a whole plethora of options.
Gave you a whole spreadsheet.
Yes, because we know this scenario is, if this happens, it's going to take years for it to happen. But as far as what the Big Ten was supposed to stand for, they're one of the top as far as academia conferences.
Right.
Point blank, period. So I was thinking, like, if they did want to say, okay, we're going to, because the Pac-10 is done. They're done. You notice I said Pac-10 because the other 2 schools, the Pac-10 as we know it is done for.
Right.
So they're going to have to put those other teams somewhere else because basically what you have left, they're Division II schools. If you look at it, the way they play ball, and I know we're taking out all the other sports, but football is what generates the most revenue. But
and you know what, Tasha? That's why I wanted to bring this conversation back this week. Shouts out to Brandon, but we kind of got away from football because that rules the roost. Nobody cares about how it affects the tennis team or the softball team.
Right. But the Pac-12, and people have been saying this, and I didn't know that, they're big on Olympic sports, but also generates revenue for the division.
Mm-hmm.
So
and you sit tight because we're coming back to Notre Dame here in just a second.
Yes, Notre Dame is the wild card. They're basically out here skating without a stick. But what would you do with Notre Dame? Because Notre Dame gets so much more money, the football team, by being an independent, where if they were to join a conference, I think they're going to get pushed around.
You know what? I'm glad you said that. So we're going to pause for a second. Marcus says he doesn't see the Big 12 teams making that move. Wayne said Pac-12 been done anyway. So like,
they were. They were.
And that's why USC UCLA made this choice so easy.
A smart choice.
And then also with the Pac-12, you're losing a big recruiting area by your 2 LA teams. Just
how can you have a Pacific Coast Conference with no LA market? Go ahead, scram, get on out of here. Like bring them, absorb them into the Big Ten, like the NBA did the ABA. Just get the best of the best. Bring in Dr. J. Bring in Fo Moses Malone. Add him to the Kareems in the NBA, and let's make this thing happen. As a traditionalist, I'm going to miss having the different conferences. Just regionally watching games. But when you show me matchups, interconference matchups like this, how can you turn down a UCLA, versus Notre Dame, a USC versus Ohio State, a Michigan versus Oklahoma State, like matchups?
But also, again, how would this work? People don't know this. UCLA is like Miami. Their football stadiums are not on their campus. So by UCLA being in the Big Ten, like I said, people are going to want to come to LA. Now, we don't know what these ticket prices as far as airlines and all that's going to be like.
It don't matter for Michigan. We're going
right.
to
and these schools will have travel packages for season ticket holders and people who are interested. I think that'll bode well as far as attendance for UCLA, because UCLA Stadium has been empty these last, few years, because I really didn't want to stay up that late to try to watch a game. But when you see it, there were no people there.
Now, Damian says, so Penn State's women's volleyball team has to travel to California on a Wednesday? Dang. Yeah. Have you been hacked? Did Brandon hack your account, D?
I mean, remember, I said that last week.
Right. That's a good point. Yeah.
Well, with the jet, you take the jet, it only takes a couple hours, so I think they're good. So.
Well, we know you done flown all across the country this week.
Yeah, they'll be all right.
Back to the show. Good job by you. Michigan. Mike. Let me ask you this about Michigan. Does this hurt or help Michigan's chances to make it back to the college football playoff, absorbing UCLA and USC?
Long term, definitely hurts. Because they are still very strong teams long term. Right now, it's not going to.
USC and UCLA can derail your ass before you get to the game.
USC made a lot of off-season moves, so like I wouldn't count them out as being a contender in 2024 for sure. But I still think there's a difference in play, and they're gonna learn today, but they'll learn in 2024 that Big Ten ball is more physical. And
so
when you have,
how you think Lincoln gonna be able to Lincoln in the Big Ten?
No, so that's what I was getting to. It's like they've played Big Ten teams before, but it's one game. Like you got to go through a whole season of playing offensive line or our defensive line, and that's our strong suit. And so when you have to play that, 10 more games, like that's a long time. And towards the end of it, their players are going to start getting hurt. They're going to be like, man, I'm tired. I'm like, man.
Right. If you're a quarterback for USC or UCLA, you have to remember something. The Big Ten has put out the Bosa brothers, AD from Michigan last year.
It does.
I'm talking about people coming off that edge that's going in the top 3, top 4 of the NFL draft every year.
And you have to think Pac-12 has been getting Big Ten backup quarterbacks, like team or quarterbacks that couldn't make it.
That softer market, that softer.
Yeah, Wilton Spade going to UCLA and still, doing. Actually, he was a starter for a while for them. So, like it's a different ball game.
Like Wayne said it best. When USC has to play on a random November in blizzards and freezing cold temps, that freezing cold rain, we're gonna see how hard you want to do that.
They can do it though. I mean, let's be real. I mean, Tom Brady played in Michigan. He was from California, right? So it's like they'll learn.
He's GOAT, but he's GOAT though. I mean, like he's one of one.
He is the GOAT.
Tasha,
Jerry Lee Rice.
Tasha, I was just say Tasha. It's his birthday. Be nice. Now let's move on because, like, the thing is, college football, we can get stuck there all day. But let's move on to the Notre Dame aspect. There are the pretty women sitting out there with their own TV deal, their own money. She got her own car. She got her own crib. Like, Mike, no? You wouldn't want Notre Dame in the Big Ten?
No, of course I would, but I don't think it should have been that way to begin with. They shouldn't have been allowed to do that.
Right.
But now it's too late.
People ain't trying to hit Brady. Tasha, you've been redeemed.
Thank you. All right.
As we digress, Tasha, what about Notre Dame?
I'm with Mike. I've always hated their independent status simply because it's almost like they always got to buy into anything. And remember when they came out with the new championship scope, if Notre Dame finished in the top 6, they automatically got in or automatically got a bowl game.
And they got destroyed too.
Yes. And
whoa, wait a minute. Hold on, wait a minute. Shots fired from the Gloom Squad. Mike, is this true?
No. Y'all know that. Y'all know I've been to the games under the lights 1, 2, 3. Like, you better go check them records.
Man, they were so scared of us. They
left.
Right.
They left.
The chicken dance.
They gave us money to break the contract so they didn't have to play us again.
Facts.
Hey, look. This is why I'm mad at y'all for not telling me to wear my Michigan gear today. I didn't know we was going to have to defend our honor. Now, you know them fighting words, Donaldson. Hold on, man. What's he saying? They were the college football draw for years. Okay, that's true. But
that's because
how can you not be?
But that's because of their independent status, which is why I don't blame Notre Dame.
Right. That's a smart business move.
Right. And I really think in their minds, I don't think that they would be able to survive the ins and outs of being in the Big Ten. They couldn't. Especially in those down years, they would have got beaten down so bad, it would have been hard to recruit. Being independent and being Notre Dame is what gets them the recruits. And you have to be smart to go to Notre Dame. You can't be no dummy.
Right. Yeah. And they get them athletes.
They have the highest GPA acceptance or something like that. I think it's like 3.0 or 3.5 or something like that.
They're not voted the best college of all in the country like Michigan, though. Don't get me started.
Like Northwestern, Vanderbilt, Stanford, those are schools with high, they just not going to take anybody. You still have to be smart to get into those schools.
Ooh, is this right?
That's what I said. Hey, that's what Paul and I were talking about last night. He was like, how are we going to get them over? I was like, they get their standard.
I won't keep that rivalry.
We getting that Fox Network money.
And then now we get that NBC money because now we get onto another network.
Right.
See what happened? They keep their NBC deal, but only for home games for Notre Dame. They still get their money for the away game. And we tell them, along with this deal, you'll get more money initially to work out your NBC deal. However, long term, you're not going to re-sign.
Right. They're like Master P. They got their own distribution deal.
They'll be all right.
And that Fox Sports money, because if you go to like California and Arizona and those places, you're going to find FS1 on the screen more than you're going to find ESPN.
That is true. That's true.
Because they're geared more towards the West Coast as far as viewers.
That's true. Now, with you saying that, it's interesting that even with that being said, I saw a list of the top 10 college football games viewed last year. Michigan, Ohio was number 1, of course, but Michigan was 3 of the top 7 games. And they on the East Coast, and that's thanks to Fox getting them into that market because they played a lot of big games on Fox, including the Michigan State game, including the Ohio game, which was 2 of the top 5 viewed games in college football. So Fox is bringing them up. The Big Ten just got it going on right now. I ain't going to lie. I'm starting to feel good about the conference coming up here with the SEC, about to do that ass like this, you know? But last but not least, because I forgot to mention them earlier, Clemson. Now, as Wayne had pointed out earlier, we have Clemson, Florida State, North Carolina, and Virginia trying to get to the SEC. They're already negotiating, and ESPN is currently trying to get out of their ACC TV deal. If you're Clemson and old Dabo Luther the King, you beat up on a pretty weak conference to get those championships that you got a few years ago, and those constant runs. Will going to the SEC be the end of Dabo as we know it?
Yes.
Then she laughed at Dabo. Wow.
Yes.
Debbie said the game would air on both channels. D, get in the room and make it happen. Simulcast it. That's what I'm talking about.
But the thing is, you're going to
Notre Dame got enough pull to do that too.
But I think it's going to hurt their recruiting more if they get into the SEC. It's all about recruiting and all about money. It can help or hurt. I'm not going to say that because you do have people that will want to go to Clemson, but if you're in the SEC and you got that pipeline, you already got the Gamecocks, you're recruiting out of there. And I think that would, I don't know, man. Let me take my statement back. I don't know. Because they already got a pipeline to Georgia when it comes to recruits.
Well, the thing is, the way that these conferences are starting to merge now, everybody's going to have national recruiting. Right.
Because, and let's go back to Texas real fast. I hate it for Texas A&M. They got away because they wanted to get away from Texas.
Like, don't do that. Tasha ain't read that yet.
Now you bringing Texas in to take away from the state of Texas because the state of Texas is hard to recruit.
It's so much competition. Everybody's coming in here plucking out the players.
Right, so now what you got Texas and you got A&M back into the same fold. How would this go out for A&M, which had one of the top recruiting classes? And is it because of Jimbo Fisher?
No, it's because of the money.
The money, players. Jimbo Fisher that's coming in. So it's going to be interesting when it comes to recruiting, when you start putting a lot of these teams in the SEC, because as much as we are Big Ten, the SEC is still the champ. The SEC is
and to be the champ, you have to what?
You got to beat the champ. And we have not beaten the SEC. So
not in the
money wise, we have.
Yeah, money wise. But how is this going to? My thing is, when all this happens, I'm interested in seeing the recruiting game, because even though we don't know what Arch Manning is going to do, just by him saying I'm going to go to Texas has brought in some of the top tier commits.
Yeah, that's true. They flipped into a wide receiver here just last week.
But they haven't played against any SEC talent. That's going to be the difference when he gets there.
Georgia's defense, Tasha. Remember that on that fateful night in Miami? What, a few months ago? Georgia's defense, we couldn't do nothing with. Oh my God, that was a nightmare. I'm sorry, keep going.
So when you get these schools who think, yeah, it's going to be all bread and butter when we get to this SEC, the SEC will show you that you are not in their league. And
Clemson,
that you do not belong in
you
that
didn't
league.
beat Georgia last year in the season opener, Mike. You called that game. I thought Clemson was going to boat race them.
I didn't know.
You didn't beat Alabama the last time y'all played in the national championship game. You have to go through those corridors to be a champion in the SEC. You got to go through both of those, Georgia and or Alabama, or maybe both if you're in the East.
And Clemson has lost a lot of their luster. So if they do join the SEC, if you don't start winning, nobody's going to want to go to Clemson anymore.
Mike, what do you say to this? You got Longhorns in your family.
No. No.
Next question.
I think there's going to be a lot of teams that are going to fade away, I guess is the right way, to fade away from these moves. And Clemson will be one of them. I don't foresee them being long. Like, they're more of a newer type of team that's somewhat relevant because of the weaker divisions that they played in conferences. But moving into the SEC, you fade away, and the only teams that will survive these big changes are going to be the elite status teams. And I'm not talking about talent. I'm talking about longevity.
Right.
So you'll see the potential OU. You'll see the Texas will definitely be okay. Yeah. But these smaller teams like Clemson does not compete with a branded Texas team.
You know what? It's almost like the old money versus new money thing. When you get a little new money, you just signed your rookie deal and you go move into an area where the money goes back generations. You know what I'm saying? Where you're not living with the players, you're living with owners. It's just a different level of the game. They can affect change a whole different way. They got more resources. They can swallow up what you consider your new money. And I think that's the same in college football.
That's like to the Nashville people. That's like Brentwood. You got two areas of Brentwood. You got that old Brentwood money, and you got that new Brentwood money. It's a big damn difference.
It is a big damn difference. Like Chris Rock famously said, "I'm rich. The man who signs my check is wealthy." You know what I'm saying?
No, it's like it was Shaq. He was like Shaq.
Yeah, it was Shaq. Yeah, he said, but Jerry West as well. It's a difference. This is a different level in Clemson. I'm gonna be so happy to see you on Jefferson Pilot Network on Channel 30, getting your ass whooped by a mid-tier SEC school.
Not the JP Network.
For that.
Yeah,
getting beat by, I hate to say it, my clangers. Getting
beat by Auburn.
Getting beat by Vanderbilt.
When you got to play LSU, Auburn, Georgia, Florida, Tennessee, all back to back, you never have to do nothing like that in the ACC. So, but Marcus says that SEC would help Clemson.
I think schools like Texas, I'm still kind of shaky on OU. I think Texas will be the
best. You left out the CH. Brandon ain't on the show this week, so I could throw that in there. All right,
even if he was on here, who cares? You're in the booth.
Well, we got another Dabo fan. Two for Dabo.
I just think Texas would like you said, it's the longevity, it's that old money, that oil money, and
that McKinney money, Mike.
If oil is doing good, Texas gonna do good.
Right. There's a difference between Plano and McKinney. I'm trying to move on up that toll road. We'll get there though. Just hang on in there with me, Jesus. All right, now because the thing is, we could do this for another hour. So let's transition. We're about to get into T Sizzle's top 5 of the week. But let me set the stage for this. And this one here, there's no wrong answers. I couldn't even come up with a 5 really. The reason what brought about this top 5 is that we saw a couple of weeks ago, and I wanted to wait till Mike was back on the show to get y'all's thoughts on this. LeVeon Bell and Adrian Peterson are about to get in the damn ring and box. They're about to get in the ring and box, in like a real boxing match. They're set for next month in Los Angeles. Tasha, are you interested? Are you going to watch this? Mike, are you going to watch this?
I'm going to watch the highlights.
Go ahead, Mike. Go ahead, birthday.
Listen, I'll watch the highlights that come through my stream, but I'm not going to actually watch it live.
You ain't putting $69.99 down for it, Tasha?
But first of all, when I read that story, I laughed. That's why I sent it to you for a
right. And immediately I was like, "What?"
And what did I tell you? ESPN needs to have a broke part 2 because they were saying Adrian Peterson has lost over $100 million.
Was he at the table?
I don't know. How do you lose that much money? Now, this goes into, are you ready for our top 5? Because it leads into our top 5 with that.
Right. Now, our T-Sizzle's top 5 is the top 5 boxes of all time that you would pay $69.99 to watch Throwdown in the Ring. Who you got, T-Sizzle?
I was listening to the Pivot podcast, and they had Mike Tyson on there. Mike Tyson said he lost almost $500,000. He has none of his boxing money. It's all gone.
Damn, Mike.
And what he was saying was,
I agree. I think LeVeon in trouble. Keep going.
And what he said was, well, hell, it wasn't like I lost the shit in a year. He said it took him time. It took him, he said, 14 to 15 years to lose that much money.
Okay.
So
well, hopefully he's got some real estate and things like that.
I mean, Mike ain't suffering. Mike got his dope business. You know, he got.
It's called marijuana.
Okay.
Because people might think he's a moving bricks.
Young, move that dope. Young, move that dope. Okay, so top 5. Now I took the greatest of all time out. I just did not include Muhammad Ali. Some people.
Okay, I get you. Okay, that makes sense. Because I was like, is it fair to put Ali on there too?
Yeah, when you have lists, some people just.
Mike ain't with that. Mike ain't with that. How you gonna leave out the greatest of all time?
When you have greatest lists, some people are above and beyond the greatest.
Okay, like there's Tears to Heaven, that upper room.
Right. He's in the upper. He's sitting up there with God talking about, so God, what you think?
He's like, I'm so pretty, God. Thank you.
Right. God, you know you made me so pretty, God. So, that's why Ali is not on my list, because he is above and beyond.
That's fair enough, because nobody can debate that. So right. Who else you got?
So I got Tyson. I'm talking about fighters that I have personally watched and
No. I like the way you said it. You framed it your very first list. You said, this is my list.
Yes.
You can give me your list, but this is my list. Go ahead.
I got Sugar Ray Leonard.
Yes, that's 2 for 2.
Now, this is where it got a little cloudy. I know everybody wants to put Floyd on there. Now, let me tell you.
Tell me why you didn't.
Floyd is on my list.
Oh, okay.
I just don't like Floyd's because I
you don't have to filter. Go ahead.
Right. We late in the show now. YouTube will let you cuss.
Like, I want to grind. I want a bare knuckles type.
Like Pretty Ricky grind?
So you say I can cuss?
We're just late in the show now, but no, don't get crazy. But
okay.
No, kids still eating their cereal.
See, right. I want somebody that's gonna take some punches when you hit it in their face and be like this on slow.
Like on the video game.
Right. So Floyd is on my list. I put him on there because he's undefeated. You can't take it away from Floyd.
That's the only reason why he made my list too. Mike ain't hearing that. I can't wait to hear Mike's list.
And then here we go. I got one Julio Cesar Chavez.
Yeah. Excellent. He has a street down here in downtown Dallas. That boy's bad.
Man, I love Julio Cesar Chavez Gonzalez. Let's just put his whole name on there. Now, little controversy. Now, this is where I said my list gets a little murky.
There's a name that Mike better have on his list, or I'm kicking you out your own club.
I got Oscar De La Hoya. I know, little controversy.
Keep going.
I kind of grouped all these together. I got Bernard Hopkins.
Okay.
Only reason, and I got again boxers that I watched. I got Tommy Hearns.
Okay. Was it because his Martin episode? I'm sorry. Keep going.
Felix Trinidad.
I forgot about him. Yeah.
And like I said, only reason why I put him on there is because of what he
Mike, this
did.
is a top 50.
I know. Because it gets murky towards the end. I got Roy Jones Jr. on there.
Why? He started catching loss.
And that's why I'm saying, when he first came out, he was the popular guy. He was the Floyd money.
You should have moved up weight classes.
I was like, I think he lost to everyone that you listed.
Right. I put him there because of the impact that he had on like everybody wanted Roy Jones Jr. in their video. Roy Jones Jr. wore Jordan. He was the go-to guy, but he is on the bottom of the, but I just said for as far as his influence, because you had people that want to hang out with him.
Tasha, how many more you got?
I'm done.
When you said Roy Jones Jr., I was like,
so when I was 10 years old,
really, I got Tyson, Sugar Ray Leonard, Floyd Mayweather, Julio Cesar Chavez, and then I put Felix Trinidad, followed by Bernard, Oscar, Tommy Hearns, and Roy.
Then Nikita Boxing is not getting hit. That's why I still got Floyd on my list. Mike, who you got, bro? Right, she had him because he tried to rap. She giving him points for other stuff.
Right. All right.
All right, Mike, the floor is yours.
Well, I'm gonna do a top 6 too. So no, I got.
Right, I had more than 5.
On, ho, you ain't got to come.
I'll go quickly on the ones that we already duplicated. So I definitely have Muhammad Ali. I have Oscar De La Hoya on there. Chavez. I think you said Sugar Ray Leonard, right?
Yeah.
I have Sugar Ray Robinson on there. I didn't see him obviously in person, but I saw a lot of videos about him.
He's like Jim Brown. You don't have to still see him play. Right. Just put him as one of the greatest.
And then I definitely have Mike Tyson on there. I think the only one that you didn't have on there, I have Manny Pacquiao instead of Floyd Mayweather.
I was wondering, was somebody going to say? That's who I was going to say.
And the reason is, the reason why I have him, to your point, I do like those boxers that aren't afraid. And I feel that Floyd was afraid when in the prime, Manny Pacquiao was like, let's do this. And he's like, nah.
That wasn't the only boxer that they accused him of ducking in the prime as well.
Right. Like, and so once, you know, it was 5 years went on or whatever. And he's like, okay, now I'll fight you. I'm like, man, now.
Years old when he fought.
Right. He was 137 years old when he fight.
Manny's still in he's still fighting. I mean, he's not at the same, but he's still fighting.
He's fighting in the ring.
It's just different. I mean, he also holds what a
political office. He fight for everything.
I mean, pretty much. I mean,
he had to fight.
He also has the world record for holding 8 titles at one time. Like that's
with the stats,
Mike. And then I just want to give a shout out to keep watching Ryan Garcia. He's a new up and comer. He reminds me of Oscar De La Hoya, but with a little bit quickness to it. He's like 22-0. So watch him.
No, wait a minute. When Mike said prominently Oscar De La Hoya, you didn't give him the same responses I got. Like, really?
Because it was the shock value. It was I didn't expect you to say that. I thought
Oscar De La Hoya beat Mayweather when they first fought.
Oscar De La Hoya, before he was wearing lace panties and whatnot, man, Oscar De La Hoya was it. He was it.
So did the time. So did Prince. I'm not getting on him for that. I'm just saying.
You're not gonna put Prince. You're not gonna put Prince in this.
Prince. They said Prince had a triple-double one time with a girdle on.
Leave him out of this. Leave him out of this.
Look, 2 names that y'all stop it, Mike. 2 names that y'all left off the list that I'm surprised. One is Evander Holyfield. Evander Holyfield beat everybody's ass.
Yeah, 1 year. 1 year was it 1 2 years?
The thing is, he couldn't help that Mike kept trotting off to jail. He would have whooped him in 91. Wait a minute. Oscar De La Hoya. Go squat in the house on Mike's birthday.
My boy had on lace panties and fishnet pantyhose.
He said the silk feels nice.
Look, ladies and gentlemen, if this is your first time watching the show, this is not a surprise. They hate my top 5 every week. My people hate it. The panel hates it. The comments hate it.
Your picks be shitty, man.
Evander Holyfield belonged there. He whooped everybody. Y'all need to watch Holyfield's his 30 for 30 if you got the ESPN.
When he cried?
And you stopped that. I think y'all holding against him because he couldn't read. But I digress. And one other one, Mike, that I'm surprised. I know your pops watched this guy. And he beat up all the brothers. Roberto Duran. What's going on?
You know what? I did have him on there. No Moss himself. Yeah, I had Roberto Duran. I did.
Roberto Duran's when they called him Fist of Concrete. Did you see what he did to Sugar Ray? Did it dip that dip? He was knocking TF. Right. He was knocking brothers TF out. And he told Sugar Ray, I'm gonna knock you out, I'm gonna beat you down, I'm gonna beat your ass. And then send him off into retirement with his eyeball, had a lump on it looking like this. Had a big shot on the side of his head.
But you saw what happened.
Duran was a monster.
But you remember Leonard Duran too. There was no Moss.
Well, no Moss because he had just took a shot of Jaeger and he wasn't really in it because he didn't train for that second fight. They said that he was out frolicking with women and being the man. Even he said that.
Whose fault is that?
Hands though, them hands. Hey, Marvin Hagler, shouts out to him for honorable mention since neither one of y'all brought him up. I
forgot about Marvin Hagler. I forgot.
Masha, how much would it cost for you to get in the ring with Jamel Hill for 5 rounds?
I don't know. Jamel from Detroit. She from the hood.
Well, so you grew up in North Nashville. That wasn't no Christmas
from the South Side. Hey, yeah, South Side. Everybody do the South Side.
Let's talk to Texas. Texas has been repping in this episode. Hagler, thank you. Keep going. I'm sorry.
I could square up with Jamel. I could square up with her.
Right, Mike. Well, let's see. We have to give you somebody else. We'll give you Kendrick Perkins. How much would it cost for you to get in the ring with Kendrick Perkins for 5 rounds?
I'd say $100.
Mike used to be wanting to fight. Like he's sleeping his fist balled up. Somebody starts.
Yeah, he seems like a softy inside. You do a little bit more mind games, and then hit him one time, and then he's good to go.
Mike just want to fight, and size don't mean nothing in a fight.
To Marcus's point, I do like Canelo Alvarez.
Yes, he's good as well. And it looks like that you have a topic for next week already. The people want to know who's your.
I'm telling you, Ryan Garcia. He's my number one right now. I've seen that dude fight, and he's quick. He has some power, so that's mine.
I mean, I like what's the new guy? The Spence kid, Errol Spence.
No mama biscuits. No mama. Wait a minute. There's somebody want to get in the ring with Stephen A. Smith to whoop that ass. He'd be like, "No, wait. How you do it, Mike? How you gonna tell him to stop?
Are you finished? I'm gonna stop you right there.
Are you finished?
Mean, people hate Stephen A. People hate Stephen A. But what I like about Stephen A., he ain't got no back down in what he said. That's his name, Errol Spence Jr. Marcus. That's his name.
We're gonna get jumped at an NBA All-Star game one year. Stephen A.
Y'all know Stephen A. rolled deep with security. Y'all do know that, right?
And he plays brick on General Hospital. But I digress. T Sizzle. We don't want to hold the birthday guy up too long. I know his family's waiting on him to start his day. Let's go with a round of shout outs. Start with you, T Sizzle.
You know what? I really and truly do not have any shout outs this week. It's been kind of a dead week for me.
Okay, all right. Michigan Mike, any shout outs for you?
Yeah, shout out to people that hung out last night, went to the casino. Shout out to Steven, my brother. His birthday is actually on the 11th. So
shout out Steven. The thing is, his little brother knows his football too, and it's hilarious. We have got to get him on one day.
Get him on the show.
We got to get him on one day. He knows his football. He's a hustle. I mean, shouts out to Papa Hasso too.
Papa Hasso shooting out them good jeans, ain't he?
Bow. Look, and they're going 2 days apart, so you know that them Christmas gifts was popping. All right, thank you for checking in, and we'll do this again next week. I'm gonna give a shout out to Michigan Mike, but I really want to give a shout out to the Dragon Link at the casino, because the Dragon Link put your boy on. I'm about to go grocery shopping with the Dragon Link money. Shouts out to the casino. Shouts out to T Sizzle. Shouts out to the Goon Squad being back together. Great show. Shouts out to everybody who chimed in on Facebook. We're coming to you real quick. iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, Twitter. Y'all know where to find us. We will see y'all in 23 hours. No, 6 days and 23 hours. I'm still hungover. Peace.
I want to go back to my little grass shack.